Engaging the abs here, feeling that lift in and up with the abdominal muscles, and that gives a little support to the lower back. On our next inhale, step the right foot up in between the hands. Exhale, drop the left knee down, release the left toes out. So we're going to take our inhale up to Anjane, but bring the hands into the heart. We're just going to check on the lower back here. So on your exhale, lengthen the tailbone down toward the floor, draw the lower abdominals in, and then press the entire pelvis toward the front of the room to get that stretch through the left front of the thigh. Those are our hip flexors in there. So that's a similar thing like we were saying before class. If the abs are a little bit too tight, you can kind of pull your pelvis back. Same thing, if the hip flexors, these muscles that run right here, are too tight, it's going to pull on the pelvis and get a little misalignment in there. So this stretch is a really good way to try and alleviate some lower back pain. And by keeping the hands down, we kind of take out that tendency to get that overarching in the lower back when the arms come up. There's just kind of a tendency to pop the rib cage out, which can counteract the benefits that you get for the lower back opening here. On your next exhale, drop the hands down, curl the left toes underneath, and we'll inhale, left foot comes up to meet the right, exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Soft knees here in your forward bend. Trying to be kind to the knee joints and also getting a little bit less stress in the lower back when we have soft knees. And that's especially important for whenever we do our transition up to standing or a transition down into forward bend. A little soft bend in the knees. Let's take our inhale, come halfway up. Find that length, reach the tailbone and the sitting bones back toward that wall. Exhale, forward bend. And we're going to heel toe the feet just a little bit wider, kind of hip distance apart so that we have a good base of support. And then take your exhale, let the head and the arms hang down toward the floor. Keep that soft bend in the knees, and then we'll gently sway the arms side to side. So you might feel, as you come over to the side, get a little stretch in the opposite side of the lower back. Make sure that you don't get dizzy here. You might have to keep the eyes open. Coming back to the center. So heel toeing the feet in, bringing the big toes to meet. And then we're going to start to roll up to standing. So starting out with the pelvis, rolling the hips back. And then once the hips are back, trying to go one vertebrae at a time up the spine, through the upper back, rolling the shoulders back, and then taking the head up. So once you get up into mountain, you should have that good natural curve. A little sway in the lower back, just slightly round in the upper back, and then that curve behind the neck. Take your exhale, pull the hands into the heart. Bring your awareness down into your feet. Make sure that the inside and the outside of the feet are pressing evenly. You can feel each of the 10 toes on the floor. And then try and feel a gentle lifting up through the inner thighs and up through the center of the body. On your next inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, opening the arms, soft bend in the knees. Exhale, dive over the legs. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Now over to the left side. Inhale, send the right leg back. On your exhale, right knee drops, right toes release. And then we're just going to inhale up to Anjane, taking hands into the heart. On your exhale, try to roll the pelvis back slightly, tucking the tailbone, trying to lift the front of the pelvis up, the pubic bone, up toward the knee, let's say. And then just feeling how the hips are here, and you can kind of compare this. When we normally do our Anjane lunge, we have the arms up, and it's very easy to get that lifting in the rib cage. And every once in a while I mention talking about these lower ribs, trying to tuck them in. Something to keep in mind, even when we come into mountain and the arms come up, you can still get that exaggerated lower back curve. So use this as your reference to try and just gently roll the pelvis back, but not to the point that you over straighten the lower back. Just natural curve. Take one more inhale here, pressing the entire pelvis forward. On your exhale, release the hands down to the floor. Right toes curl underneath, lifting the right knee. On your exhale, left foot comes back into down dog. On your next inhale, let's roll forward. So either high plank or dropping the knees for half plank. We're going to take an exhale, little half chaturanga. Come down halfway. Pull the elbows in toward the side of the body. And then next exhale, release all the way down. Release the toes out. So now our back bends. This is normally where if you have a sensitive lower back bending can sometimes kind of irritate that, and that's because when we lift up into our back bend, we're sinking. We're kind of compressing the joints in the lower back. So what you want to do is as you inhale, come up into a little baby cobra, and then think about pressing the pubic bone, the front of the pelvis, down into the floor, and reach the tailbone down toward the heels. At the same time, we're lengthening out through the crown of the head so that the weight of the upper body doesn't compress down into the lower back. Exhale, release the head down. We use our inhale to press up through table. So as you come through table, you come back into that neutral spine. Nice natural curve in the back. And then exhale, reach back through the tailbone. Come into your child's pose, tailbone curls underneath. The lower back is long. One more deep breath here. Our next inhale pulls us forward into table. Let's curl the toes underneath. Take an exhale back. Lifting the hips up into down dog. Now let's soften our knees here. We're going to slowly start to walk the feet up toward the hands, keeping a little bend in the knees so that we don't overstretch the hamstrings. And then eventually you'll be in forward bend up at the top of your mat. On your next exhale, sink the hips down. We're going to come through chair pose on our way up to standing. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Now check the lower ribs. Make sure that you're not jutting those lower ribs out front. Try to tuck them in. Tailbone's long down toward the floor. Lower belly is pulling in. On your next exhale, drop your hands down onto your thighs. Now we're going to go through some cat and cow stretches, just like we did in the table. On your exhale, round yourself forward. Pull the lower belly in, tuck the tailbone. On your inhale, chest lifts up. Tailbone lifts back. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift the heart. It's a nice way to feel the range of motion that we have in the hips, so that you can feel what you're going for when you do that adjustment in your chair. We're in a lot of standing poses. One more breath here. Inhaling, lifting the heart. Exhale, pulling the heart back. Come back into neutral. Pull the hands into the heart. And on your exhale, fold over into forward bend. ahead, drawing the chin back slightly so that the ears are right over the top of the shoulders. We'll take an exhale, draw hands into the heart. Take our inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, swan dive down over the legs. Taking your inhale halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Let's take an inhale, step the left leg back. And then on your exhale, right leg comes back into down dog. Inhaling, rolling forward, coming into plank, engaging the abs. Now we'll try that little transition on our way down in our chaturanga. Taking our exhale, coming about halfway, draw the elbows into the sides of the body. Try and take a full inhale, and then exhale, lower down. This time for a back bend, we're going to take our inhale, lift the chest up. Try coming up a little bit lower than you normally do, and then feel that rolling back in the pelvis. Try and press the pubic bone down into the floor. If your lower back is okay here and you want to try and add the legs in, we'll inhale, lift up, reaching back through the big toes. Every inhale, thinking about reaching out through the crown of the head, using that to lengthen the spine all the way down to the tailbone. One more inhale. Exhale, release down. Press into the palms, come up through table. Exhale, back into child's pose. Your next inhale, let's pull forward into table. Toes curl underneath, and on your exhale, roll back into down dog. Lower abs are drawing in and up. And trying to use the abs to try and pull some of the weight out of the hands. That engagement in the abs, that activation in the abs, takes some of the stress out of the hands, out of the shoulders. On your inhale, let's step the left foot up in between the hands. And then step the right foot up. Exhale into your forward bend. Inhale, coming halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Now holding here for a few breaths. Let's take a hold of opposite elbows to get a little bit more weight, creating some traction through the spine. Now make some little adjustments. Kind of play around with the knees and see if you bend an inch or two more. See how that changes the sensation in the lower back. And then maybe straighten the legs a bit more. Just feel how the opening, how the stretch moves around the body with those little adjustments. Let's use our next exhale to unfold the arms, drop the hands down to the floor. And then with your inhale, starting to roll up through the spine, making your way up into standing.